Organic food. For years, it's been sold as the gold standard of healthy, ethical, and sustainable eating. It's often portrayed as better for our bodies, better for the environment, and even better tasting. But how much of this narrative is actually backed by evidence? Is organic food really worth the higher price, or is it just another marketing tactic aimed at those of us trying to make healthier choices? Let's explore the controversial truth behind organic food, debunk some myths, and examine whether the hype surrounding it is truly justified. What is organic food, really? Before we dive into the facts, let's define what organic really means. Organic food refers to products grown and processed following specific guidelines set by regulatory bodies. In the US, the Department of Agriculture, USDA, has strict criteria for what can be labeled organic. This includes the absence of synthetic pesticides, fertilizers, genetically modified organisms, GMOs, and antibiotics for livestock. Farmers must also meet standards for animal welfare and environmental sustainability. But there's a catch. Just because something is labeled organic doesn't mean it's 100% organic. There are multiple classifications. 100% organic means all ingredients are organic. Organic means at least 95% of the ingredients are organic. Made with organic ingredients means at least 70% of the ingredients are organic. The term organic can sometimes be used loosely. Some products you see on shelves might only contain a fraction of organic ingredients yet carry the coveted label. The price premium. Why does organic cost so much more? One of the most obvious differences between organic and non-organic foods is the price. Studies show that organic products can cost anywhere from 7% to 82% more than their conventional counterparts, with the average being around 50% more. But why? There are several reasons for this price premium. First, organic farming often involves smaller-scale operations with higher labor costs. Without the use of synthetic pesticides or genetically modified crops, organic farms may experience more pest-related issues and require more manual labor for weed control. Organic fertilizers are also more expensive, and organic farmers must meet strict certification processes, which can be costly. Second, organic farms typically yield less produce per acre compared to conventional farms. One study from Stanford University found that organic farms tend to produce about 20% less food, although this number can vary depending on the crop and farming practices. Lower yields mean higher prices to cover costs. But here's the question: is paying more for organic food actually worth it? Nutritional content. Is organic really healthier? One of the biggest reasons people gravitate towards organic food is the belief that it's healthier. But what does science have to say? Several studies have examined the nutritional content of organic versus conventional foods. While some research suggests that organic foods may contain slightly higher levels of certain nutrients, like antioxidants, vitamin C, and certain minerals, the differences are often marginal. A comprehensive study published in the British Journal of Nutrition analysed over 300 studies and found that organic crops contain higher concentrations of antioxidants, with some studies showing levels up to 69% higher than conventional crops. However, these increases in nutrients are not significant enough to make a dramatic difference in overall health, according to nutritionists. When it comes to macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, there is no substantial difference between organic and non-organic foods. Whether you're eating organic or conventional produce, you're still getting the same essential nutrients that your body needs. What about pesticides? Organic foods are promoted as pesticide-free, but the truth is a bit more complicated. Organic farms are allowed to use certain natural pesticides, like neem oil and copper sulfate. While these are generally considered safer than synthetic pesticides, some studies have shown that they can still pose health risks if used in excess. In fact, a review by Critical Reviews in Toxicology found that pesticide residues on both organic and conventional foods are generally well below safety limits set by regulatory agencies. So, from a purely nutritional perspective, organic food may not offer a significant advantage over non-organic options. But health isn't just about nutrients, it's also about what's not in your food. The environmental impact. Is organic really better for the planet? The idea that organic farming is better for the environment is one of the biggest selling points for organic products. Advocates argue that organic farming reduces pollution, conserves water, reduces soil erosion, and uses less energy. But does it really? Organic farming does indeed have some clear environmental benefits. For example, organic farms often use techniques like crop rotation, composting, and natural pest control, which promote biodiversity and reduce soil degradation. Organic farming also avoids synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, which can contaminate water sources and harm wildlife. However, organic farming is not without its drawbacks. As mentioned earlier, organic farms tend to have lower yields than conventional farms. To produce the same amount of food, organic farms often require more land. A study from Nature Communications found that switching to 100% organic farming would require up to 33% more land than conventional farming to meet global food demand. This could lead to deforestation and loss of natural habitats, potentially offsetting the environmental benefits of organic practices. In addition, organic farming often requires more water than conventional farming. Organic crops are generally more vulnerable to pests and disease, which can reduce their resilience and increase the need for irrigation. Some critics argue that the water and land use of organic farming might not be sustainable in the long run, especially as the global population continues to grow. So while organic farming has clear environmental advantages, it's not a perfect solution to the world's sustainability challenges. The pesticide myth. Are organic foods really free of chemicals? A common misconception is that organic food is completely free of pesticides and chemicals. While organic farming restricts the use of synthetic chemicals, it still allows for the use of natural pesticides and fertilizers. These are derived from natural sources and are generally believed to be safer, but they are not always without risks. A study from environmental health perspectives pointed out that some organic approved pesticides can still pose risks to human health and the environment. Copper sulfate, for example, is commonly used in organic farming to control fungal diseases. While it's considered safer than synthetic alternatives, copper can accumulate in the soil over time, leading to potential toxicity for plants and wildlife. The use of manure as a fertilizer in organic farming also presents risks. Manure can contain harmful pathogens like E. coli and Salmonella, which, if not properly composted, can contaminate crops. There have been instances of foodborne illnesses traced back to organic produce. In one case in 2011, a deadly E. coli outbreak in Europe was linked to organic bean sprouts, killing over 50 people and sickening thousands. While organic produce tends to have lower pesticide residues compared to conventional produce, the actual health risk from pesticide exposure is low for both. According to the USDA's pesticide data program, over 99% of the samples of both organic and non-organic foods tested had pesticide residues well below the safety limits set by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Taste and quality. Does organic food really taste better? Many proponents of organic food claim that it tastes better than conventional food. Taste is, of course, subjective, but is there any scientific evidence to back this up? A review by Food Quality and Preference found that while some studies suggest a slight preference for the taste of organic foods, the majority of taste tests show no significant difference between organic and conventional foods. Factors like freshness, ripeness, and storage conditions often have a greater impact on taste than whether the food was grown organically or conventionally. Interestingly, a lot of the perception that organic food tastes better may come down to the placebo effect. People who believe they're eating organic food often rate the taste more highly, even when the food is actually conventional. This suggests that part of the better taste of organic food might come from the psychological satisfaction of eating something perceived as healthier or more ethical. The ethical debate: is organic food more humane? For many, choosing organic food is also a matter of ethics. Organic farming tends to prioritize animal welfare, and organic meat, eggs, and dairy products are typically produced under stricter guidelines regarding how animals are raised. For example, organic livestock must have access to outdoor space, and the use of antibiotics and growth hormones is generally prohibited. However, these practices vary widely, and some critics argue that organic certification doesn't always guarantee humane treatment. A report by the Cornucopia Institute, an organic industry watchdog, found that some large-scale organic farms exploit loopholes in the regulations to keep animals in confinement, similar to conventional factory farms. The label, organic, does not always mean free-range or pasture-raised, and consumers may be paying a premium for a product that is not as ethically sourced as they believe. So, is organic food worth the hype? The answer isn't straightforward. There are clear benefits to organic farming: fewer synthetic chemicals, better soil health, and, in some cases, high levels of certain nutrients. However, organic food is not without its limitations. It's more expensive, often has lower yields, and in some cases, may not be significantly better for your health or the environment than conventionally grown food. For many, the decision to buy organic comes down to personal values, whether you prioritize minimizing chemical exposure, supporting certain farming practices, or contributing to a more sustainable food system. Organic food might not be a silver bullet for health or the environment, but it plays a role in a larger conversation about how we produce and consume food. In the end, whether you choose organic or conventional food, the most important thing is to eat a balanced, nutrient-rich diet. After all, a diet high in fruits and vegetables, whether organic or not, will have a far greater impact on your health than whether those foods carry an organic label. So, next time you're standing in the grocery store trying to decide between the organic and non-organic options, remember that the choice is not as clear-cut as it seems. The truth about organic food is complex, and only you can decide if it's truly worth the hype.